Oh, g'day everyone. How's it going? Welcome back to another weekly live stream here at Next Level Adventures. Today, the 27th of April, another Wednesday. G'day, Steve and Steve, who are already in the chat. Same answer as always, mate. Steve, you. You're my girlfriend this week, mate. And Mud Duck, how are you, mate? Hope you're all doing well this week. So this week we're just going to pretty much have a little chat. We'll talk about what's happened basically over the last week, which is a fair bit. We did go away. We did go out camping finally after through a big break of not getting out. Yeah, 2 minutes late. Well, that's all right. I wanted to see. Usually I won't pop my face on here until the first person says hi in the chat, so I'm not talking to myself. So, g'day Jake, how we going, mate? Keen to do some more dodgy 12-volt work on the nav now that you've taken the roof rack off. So how are we all doing tonight? Good to see everybody in here so swiftly. Jake actually got away over the weekend as well. Went down and check out some pretty cool spots down on the south coast down there on the Yelwell Ways sort of thing, which was pretty cool. Well, I love that area down there. There's some awesome four-wheel driving. Jake's got some spots that he wants to take us now that he's found a couple. Oh, yeah, definitely, Mud Duck. I think you're the only person that didn't just get out there on the weekend, but that was because our original plan did unfortunately fall through there. So yeah, on the weekend, I got to head down to Benalla in Victoria with Dad, and that was definitely a little bit of a last minute thing. So as you knew, for the last couple of weeks, the Pajero had a blown wheel bearing that basically stopped me from going anywhere. I couldn't go camping or anything like that in the Pajero because I couldn't drive it. And yeah, just in time for the long weekend, good mate Paul over at Paul's Mobile Mechanics managed to actually get it sorted. So we got some parts in early, or swiftly, I should say, and we were able to do the job literally the night before we left. So originally I was actually going to go out camping with Mud Duck, and then I couldn't take the Pajero because I thought we were going to be waiting for parts till next week. So I was actually going to ride with Dad and go down to Benalla in his car, and then in the end Paul ended up being able to do it the right before, but by that time Steve had already made other arrangements, and we couldn't really make that happen, but I did end up going down to Benalla, and it was an awesome weekend. Yeah, the high country would have been awesome down there. It was a really good weekend down in Victoria, but when we left Sydney in the morning, it was flogging with rain, and then we got sort of just past Marulan, sort of a little bit further south, and it cleared up, and it was the same on the way back. When we were coming in, it was crystal clear, and then probably got maybe an hour north of Gundagai and drove into the rain again. So it was a beautiful weekend down in Victoria, but I don't think New South Wales, or at least Sydney, had that luxury of having a nice clear weekend. So I can imagine the high country would have been awesome all down there. We didn't go anywhere up in the high country. We were in the foothills for our adventure, which was awesome. We checked out some cool country there, followed around where a couple of good old famous bush rangers like Harry Powers and Ned Kelly used to hide out from the coppers. We went and checked out all those places, as well as when they finally caught them, well, we went and checked out where they threw them in jail. So yeah, it's pretty cool. As well as we did the Anzac Day March. My next mod for the Pajero, to be honest, not too sure there, Steve. I think for me, it's either going to be a new fridge there, or a new 270 awning, a freestanding one that actually mounts to the rooftop tent rather than having its own separate mounting thing. And then I will eventually then have it so that the rooftop tent and the shower tent and the awning all come off as one piece, whereas at the moment the awnings on their own separate brackets mounted to the roof rails, which is fine, but it's just a big awning, and I think I'd like to have a freestanding one. That'd be cool. I did not stand you up either, Steve. Most certainly not. I I would have definitely gone if the Pajero was fixed earlier. I actually didn't know that I was getting it fixed the day before we left. As said, as once once Paul said he had to order parts, sort of summed it up that we wouldn't be getting it done until this week now, or that at that time next week. And so, yeah, but in the end, he did make it work, and I believe that he actually took time out of his own time to come and do that, which very thankful for. The bloke works very big and long days, so yeah, really happy that we did get that done in the end, though, because it was an awesome weekend. We did film it all, absolutely everything. Currently editing that now. At the moment, I believe I'm only 5 minutes into that clip. Not too sure how long it will be. I did a lot of filming, so yeah, a lot of it. But it's also mostly highway driving, so whether or not I'll even actually use all of the footage that I took, I don't know. But I'll definitely try and use as much as possible, because just some awesome country down there, especially in the foothills. Went and visited the old Tatong pub. There's tons of murals around the Benalla and Tatong area where they got paintings on silos and paintings on buildings and stuff like that. It's crazy how many things that they have there. No wind or anything in the high country. 15 cars in 4 days. Wow. And considering, Steve, Unpro, that you went over a long weekend, that's yeah, that's pretty incredible. You know, I would have assumed that there would have been heaps more people up there and around that region, considering. But oh, sorry, as well as Easter had just passed, and I'm probably assuming that most of the people that wanted to head down there over a long weekend would have done so at Easter time. And yeah, that's what I would have done. But there would have been a lot more people around then. And the fact that you got to do it over Anzac Day, mate, that's yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, actually, you came home early or something like that, you said. So we did the Anzac Day march in Benalla. So I have family origins down there. We went down to Benalla. Met up with my pop or dad on dad's side, so dad's dad, and he served on the HMAS Brisbane in Vietnam, as well as my great uncle, Pop's brother, served on the Perth in Vietnam as well. Or yeah, they both had scarves on from Vietnam, so I'm sure that they're both there. So that was pretty cool. And we got to do the march in Benalla, and she discovered that you know, on the actual plaque, memorial plaque in Benalla, where that we've actually got relatives on there that served in Korean War, Second World War, and the First World War, and that's in that region down around Benalla, and Coleraine is where a family comes from. They date all the way back to pretty much settlement, I believe, which is pretty cool. I didn't actually know that, but it is under a different last name. So, g'day Adam, how are you, mate? Good to see you here. And I reckon Jake didn't miss your comment there. I reckon that we definitely have to head down that way into Jarvis Bay area. That's an awesome little place down there. Remember one of the first fishing trips that Jared and I did was down to Sussex Inlet there. We stayed in a motel back then, and back then we stayed in a motel and we were fishing behind the bowling club down there in Sussex Inlet. That was pretty awesome. But ever since then, yeah, that whole area, I just absolutely love it down in there. It's bloody awesome, and I reckon that it's the right time of year. Be perfect. You can get those. I forget what they're called, but they wash up on the beach. It's all blue. So Unpro went to Victorian High Country. I went down to Benalla over the weekend, which is not a high country, but it's kind of like a foothills. So Benalla, Shepparton, and then I think Bendigo is the closest major town. So a little bit west of the high country. Yeah, mate, I got a lot of Steve, a lot of respect for them and doing that, mate. You know, it's under. Like I said, they're all on different last names, but Pop's good with knowing all that stuff and who his relatives and that are. He's really into it, and to find out that a lot of them did actually make the ultimate sacrifice between First and Second World War. They were quite large families back then. You know, like I think it was like 9, 10, and 11s and stuff like that. So yeah, there's quite a few of them on the memorial stones and stuff like that, which is just it's really cool. If money was no object, what would be your vehicle or four-wheel drive of choice, Mud Duck? Yeah, I'm happy with the Pajero, but I really love a 4.2 liter petrol. You know, they're just I love the sound of them. I really like them. They're just a nice vehicle, I think, anyway. And not to say that the Pajero is set up perfectly, absolutely perfectly, and definitely not unhappy with it. But at the time, that was just the best option for me to go. I was in the market for I was looking at patrols and stuff like that. Not too sure about 80 series or 100 series cruisers. I just like GU patrols. That's my thing, and like that's just a thing that I just like them. And so I think if money wasn't in the picture, I'd definitely buy one of those and you know, polish her up nicely, rebuild the engine so it's nice and reliable and stuff like that, and yeah, get it going on a road. That or probably 200s are nice. If I was going to buy a Land Cruiser, it would be a 200, just because they're like I like wagons. I mean, Utes are great, but they're not for me. I like wagons, and I like just the look and the setup and stuff like that of wagons. I think that's much more practical for me. I mean, that's because I own a wagon and I've set one up, I think, ideally for myself. Yeah, I mean, I love the Pajero. It's absolutely awesome, and it's taken me everywhere that I've wanted it to go. But that's if money wasn't in the equation. I mean, if you had unlimited money, why wouldn't you buy something like that, a 200 or a TD42 or something, just for the experience, you know, just to say that you had one, just to say that you tried it out. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a sought after vehicle these days that trying to find one in really good condition would be hard. And so why not just buy one and make it into really good condition if you didn't have money in the equation? G'day Josh, mate. How are you going? Good to see you. Yes, Steve is my missus this week, mate. Yeah, Unpro. Oh, I definitely reckon it would be yours. I do like that old truck. It's very nice. Something similar at least would be. That's if the Pajero ever broke down, like broke or I couldn't drive it anymore or something like that, and I would either buy another one. Like I definitely would buy another one. It's been a great reliable vehicle. But the thing is, and the deciding factor of me deciding to buy this one, well, when I say buy, as in we owned this car since brand new, so I knew everything about it. I knew that it had been well looked after. I knew its service history, and I knew that it was reliable. Yeah, so I bought it off Dad, so he could afford. Well, he was in the market for a new car anyway at the time, so yeah, well, I bought that off of him. At the time, that was definitely the best option to go for because, as I said, I knew everything about the car, and technically we'd owned it since we've owned it since it's new. He drove it off the lot, but I just bought it off him. So why wouldn't you buy a car in that scenario? Now, since buying it, I definitely reckon that it's one of the most unique Pajeros out there. I don't see very many Pajeros with such an extensive modification list like mine does. You know, people, they don't tend to do it too much. They tend to either just tow with it or nothing really, slap a bull bar on it, and that's kind of it. I definitely was going to go for the lift and the bigger tires and the rooftop tent, everything like that, because that's just how I want to be set up for when I'm away. And so, with that being said, that's how I wanted my four-wheel drive to be set up. Like I said, I was in the market for a wagon at the time, and so it didn't matter what wagon I got, whether it was a Patrol or the Pajero or something else. It was going to be set up this way, the same way that I've got the Pajero set up, because that's just what I wanted. So that's probably the best answer for if money was no object. It would definitely be a wagon of some sort. You know, however, the Pajero was the best option at the time, and I have been extremely happy with it. It's been a great vehicle. Yeah, Steve, mate, I reckon 200s do rock if they're set up correctly. Be good to get out for a camp there, Josh, mate, and I definitely, I've never actually, like, I wouldn't mind a Prado, but I've never tried them, so I don't know what they're like, and but I wouldn't say no to one, mate. Definitely a capable vehicle, and I'm sure, you know, I could set it up the way that I wanted to. This is the kind of thing with me. I really am not fussed by what vehicle I own as long as it does what I need it to. So and the Pajero does that. So I'm happy with it. I don't plan on changing anytime soon. Yeah, Jake definitely has a nice Navara there, but I do like my car. I do like the wagon, I do like the Pajero, and I do like how it's set up. So yeah, I mean, I'll let you keep your Navara for now. Yeah, Shad Sun's 80 is very, very nice. I think you got a fantastic deal there for a very nice looking car. And yeah, hopefully no lid skids in this one. That's for sure. Hopefully it stays around. It's good. I haven't seen Shad tonight, and I'm not sure if he has a video out either tonight. But yeah, that vehicle looks bloody awesome. I reckon it'll do him pretty well. Nice and capable, that one. Yeah, I've never actually, thankfully, never rolled a vehicle. Become close. I've been in Lockie's patrol when we almost rolled it up at Newton's. The first time that we ever went there was in yeah, it was in Lockie's patrol, and we went down this rut, and yeah, it just got a little bit too flexy, and the front end dipped down, the rear wheel lifted up, but luckily we were able to get that fixed very, very quickly. That was quite scary situation there. But as I said, that was the first time that we went out. Oh, I don't know about that one there, Mud Duck. I mean, Shad 76 is very, very well set up, and he's got a fantastic vehicle there. I think it's a great vehicle. You know, if I ever owned a 76, it'd be set up pretty well. Outside suspension and stuff like that, very similar to Shad's, but the inside would probably be set up similar to how I have the Pajero. I reckon that for a wagon, for me, it's set up perfectly. You know, if somebody else got in my car, they'd probably be like, "Oh, this is not set up how I like it," but it is for me. It's set up exactly how I want it. And that's kind of the main thing about touring rigs, is that I don't think that there's such thing as a perfect touring rig. I definitely reckon that it's individual need, that you set up your car how you like it, and that's the perfect setup for you. There's no by the rule book perfect setup. Yeah, Adam. I don't know. Thankfully, we didn't break anything in that almost roll on that whole trip. I don't think we broke anything, which is good. You know, Lockie has had a pretty good record of fixing the car very cheaply. I wouldn't know about a Toyota because we've never had one. We've only ever had. Well, this is Dad. This was Dad's fourth Pajero. We've owned four Pajeros in total, so safe to say he likes them. Two of them are mine, including this one now, and my very first ever car was an NL Pajero. A cool old thing there. Definitely do wish I kept that, but you know, back in the day, the boys demanded a slightly faster car. I sold that for a old V6 Commodore, and yeah, but definitely upgraded later on to this Pajero. I think this one would run circles around the old NL. Just yeah, turbo diesel, modern interior, diff lockers, lift, tyres, everything, and just such a nice looking vehicle. I think the new one compared to the old one. Funny enough, we still have that old bloody V6 Commodore. I don't think the boys will ever forget that vehicle. Yeah, I don't really know too much about. Yeah, I don't know too much about Land Cruiser engines and stuff like that, but they definitely are nice. I have to say, like I appreciate them. That's for certain. 1HC or the FTEs and all that stuff. Like I said, don't know too much about them. Couldn't tell you the difference between them, but I definitely appreciate them. That's for certain. Actually, now that you're mentioning all the tyre size and stuff, I've never owned a vehicle with 35s on it. I think the biggest I've gone is 33s on this Pajero out here, and I think that is the biggest I'll go on that vehicle. I don't think I'll ever go any bigger than 33s. No necessity, plus the modifications required in order to do that will be too much. I think it'll be way too expensive and not worth it. I don't think a vehicle like a Pajero is built to have 35s on it and do big tracks and stuff like that. That's when you need to buy a Patrol or a Land Cruiser, something that you can beat up a little bit more and is not as expensive to fix and is designed to do the tougher tracks with live axle suspension. Not saying that a IFS vehicle couldn't do some of the other tracks, but you're so much more likely to break something. Just definitely. Like there are some tracks that I would never ever take the Pajero up, and not saying that it couldn't do them, but I'd be so much more likely to damage something than if I had a massive Patrol on 35s. So yeah. Righto. Well, I think we've definitely sparked some debate, that's for sure. But I'm going to talk about some of the things that we did on our weekend down in Victoria. So as I said, we did the Anzac Day March. That was the main purpose of heading down there, was to do the Anzac Day March and follow along with Pop and do that with him. That was actually the first one that I've ever done with him. I've been present at others, but I've never actually physically marched in them, which was pretty cool. And so once we got down there, we went, and the first thing that we did was we went for dinner at Tadong Pub. The old historic Tadong Pub down there was pretty awesome. There were some murals around on the walls and just a really cool old atmosphere, and it was fairly busy too. And then the next day we went to Powers Lookout, and Powers Lookout is where the old bushranger Harry Powers used to hide from the police. Harry Power, unlike Ned Kelly, never killed anybody. He just used to rob people. And that was where he had his little camp. The only reason that they ever caught old Harry was because of the bounty on his head went up to £500, which back in them day was a lot. And it says on the wall that the police found him sleeping in a cave. And as you walk down the track to get to the lookout, on the left-hand side, just under this little rock ledge, is a cave, and there's like some very, very old stonework done on that cave, and pretty safe bet, I reckon, that that is probably the cave that back in, you know, the 1870s or something, that they stumbled across old Harry Power sleeping in. That was pretty cool to see and stuff like that. We went to the Greater Cemetery, which is where Ned Kelly is buried. And then after that, we went to Beechworth and checked out the old historic Beechworth jail. So the cool thing about Beechworth jail is that, well, it is probably one of Australia's longest serving jails. So it was open 144 years. And there are people alive today that, you know, might have been in Beechworth jail, that might have been in the same cell or in the same block, or definitely in the same building as people like Harry Power and Ned Kelly. So they can, I wouldn't say that that's a boast that you're in the same jail as someone, but yeah, there are people still alive today that would have been in the same, kept in the same jail as Ned Kelly and as Harry Powers, which is pretty cool. They do jail tours there, but unfortunately we didn't get to do that, so we missed the last tour by literally like 10 minutes. That was a pretty cool weekend though. We went to the Beechworth Bakery. If you're ever in Beechworth, definitely worth going to. That it was awesome stuff there at the Beechworth Bakery. And then yeah, after that we just sort of puddled along, explored Benalla and stuff like that. And then, yeah, that's kind of it. I paddled along home, and after the Anzac March, and Dad stayed down there an extra day because he could. And it was a pretty good weekend, I have to say. So, as I said, I'm editing up that video now. Not sure when it will be released, but that's in the making. It might take me a little while, as I only started today, and so I've got 4 or 5 minutes done, and I'll do a little bit more after the live stream tonight. So coming up in a couple of weeks still is that video that I did to Nunes, which is one that I really want, like I'm really excited for, because that's the first video that I filmed on this iPhone, with the cinematic shots at least, and actually used the song that is playing right now in the background in that video for the first time. It's a really cool video with a lot of fantastic high quality footage that I'm really keen for everyone to see. So that, I believe, is 2 weeks away. Not this Friday, but next Friday. I believe that one will release. Yeah. Alright. What fridge is next for me? I'm probably going to go... I was pretty set on a my Coolman 55 litre, and that's probably what I'll do still, or maybe something around that range. I'm pretty set on a my Coolman, maybe an Engel. I really don't know, but that's probably what I'll do, because the fridge that I've got is just massive, and since I'm running the console fridge as well, I don't really need to worry about drinks or anything like that. I can just put them in a little console fridge that sits behind the passenger seat, and just have a 55 litre fridge, probably my Coolman at this rate, to just for normal use, you know, like food and stuff like that. So yeah, that's probably next Mud Duck, the my Coolman 55 litre. Considering the 15 amp hour battery, the power pack that comes with it, but not really a necessity. I'm actually really happy with how the Energive battery has been running everything, man. I mean, things just is awesome. Like, it hardly drops charge at all. Like that console fridge, I didn't turn it off at all, and the Pajero actually sat still in Benalla. So when I got there on Saturday, the Pajero sat still until Monday, and so that went down about 25% running that little console fridge for yeah, a few days. It's pretty cool. And then it takes down with the big 80 litre Waco that's in there. It goes down about 20% overnight. So running both the fridges overnight, if I ever do that, I've done it a couple of times to test it out. It probably goes down 25% overnight running both of them, which just that's crazy because the AGM battery that we used to have before used to literally not run that fridge for any longer than 8 hours. If we had that fridge on, like if we didn't start charging the battery after 8 hours, it would die. And that's not how you want to run an AGM. But so I was so surprised when I put lithium in how much better it really is. And comparatively, I only paid a little bit extra for the lithium battery compared to what I was going to pay for AGMs. I'm so glad I did that. Yeah, Mud Duck, I'm definitely sad I never got to see your 80. That would have been a nice little thing to see, well, the big thing to see because it was probably massive. Didn't know Steve was related to Ned Kelly. Yeah, that's crazy. Now I can see why he's such a rebel. 30. The new job is pretty good, mate. Just getting things kicked off at the moment, so that's kind of taken over for. That'll probably take over for the next couple of weeks. So hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll be back into some kind of routine. Run back out camping every week or every 2 weeks like I used to be. I'm super keen to check out Snowy River region, down from Tumut down the Snowy Valley Highway and stuff like that, as well as down near Jindabyne and stuff like that. Don't have a missus too like the 33s on the Pajero, mate, but I like them. I reckon that they suit the vehicle, and if I went back to 31s, it would just look stupid. I reckon it's very well proportioned. The Pajero is. HGT snapped his studs on Y62 with 35s. I've seen this Y62 in, forget the name of the town, Manning Point, on the mid-north coast on our last trip. It was awesome. That's another vehicle that I would definitely own if money wasn't in the equation. Is a Y62. I think that they're great vehicles, especially all done up, lift and tires set up the same as I have the Pajero. That'd be a fantastic vehicle, I reckon. I like V8s as well. I own a V8, but it's not a four-wheel drive, so that'd definitely be a strong contender for my next four-wheel drive if I ever had to part ways with the Pajero, for sure. Waco 55 litre has an ice cube maker in it. Now that's something that is pretty cool. Actually, often when I'm away, you have a little drink or something like that. If you have whiskey or whatever, even you just want something with ice in it, and you don't have ice because not many fridges actually come with one of those, and none stay cold enough to keep ice frozen. So yeah, that's actually pretty cool. Mine doesn't have an ice cube maker in it. Mine's actually very, very old. Yeah, my fridge is. I wouldn't actually be able to tell you in years how old it is because we've had it since I was like young. That's a while back. I think around 15 years, maybe a little bit longer. I think my dad bought that fridge in 2005. That Waco 80 litre. So, and it's still going strong today. So, yeah, that just shows you how good that fridge has been to us. My next camera. To be honest, mate, I'm not sure. It's probably going to be a drone. If I go out and buy another piece of camera equipment, it will be a drone. But my next actual camera will be probably, it'd be another GoPro if I had to buy a physical camera. But first is going to come more GoPro accessories because over the weekend in Benalla, I actually snapped this off completely. So yeah, that goes on there like this, and it snapped off. I was doing me shot, bumped it into the door, literally snapped. So I was refined down to one camera for the entire weekend, but that was fine because I was using my phone for scenery shots, and so for the whole weekend I just had this little guy extends out here like this for the entire weekend, which was, it was fine. I got by, but just frustrating that the old extension stick did break. I'm not putting an LS1 in the Pajero. If I still had the old NL Pajero, I would. It's actually sitting down. Well, the person we sold it to blew the motor up, so it's actually sitting down there without a motor. So I'd love to put an LS1 V8 in it. I could even put the LS1 V8 out of the V8 Commodore that I have into that. That would be pretty awesome. I reckon. I don't think I'd ever use that much power in a Pajero, but I know that LS1 V8s do fit in it, but not the Pajero that I have now. I don't think I would put. If that Pajero died, I would just put the same motor back in it or buy a new car, I think. Yeah, Unpro have heard fantastic things about the Y62 V8. I've also heard how fantastic they sound, so yeah, I'd definitely buy one if I could. Upcoming Fraser trip. So what have I still got to organise before we leave? So I myself don't have to organise too much. Mate, the Pajero stays pretty well ready to go at any time. Just organise what food we're taking. Of course, there's a couple of us going, so organise who's taking what and how much food we actually need and stuff like that. And that's pretty much it. I'll sit down with Mud Duck in a video that'll, well, when we do sit down and talk, it'll be put up. We'll do a detailed trip run through and stuff like that, and that's when I guess we'll 100% know what is left to organise. But as far as me, probably not too much. It'll be more Dad that has the organising to do, but it's mainly in the food department. I think, like everything else, just chuck it in and ready to go. I'm confident that for the entire trip, like I don't need to buy any new gear. You know, like I could go away tomorrow for 10 days and be fine with what I've got in my setup. It's just food, obviously, and water. Well, we've got a water tank even, so it's just food really that needs to be organised, I think. Yeah, Adam, I was going to start using the DSLR more, but this new iPhone camera and cinematic mode is just fantastic. You know, the quality is, you know, like when you let me just see if I can actually just find a nice clip to chuck on for you guys so you can see the quality of the new iPhone. Let me just see. I was pretty skeptical at first when I got it, and then I seen videos from when Mud Duck and I went to Dunn's Swamp a little while ago, and we did a hike there. My friend Callum came along, and he had one of these, and he showed me the footage from it, and I was just absolutely gobsmacked. Ever since then, I've just been like, yeah, I want to get one. Then once I got one, took it out, and man, I've been so happy with the footage that's come from it. So I'll show you a clip from Nunes that I took while I was out there. See if I can find the right one. This is some kangaroos that are, or maybe everyone's seen that one on Instagram already. Just some kangaroos that were boxing in the field. So what my favorite thing about this iPhone camera actually is that the focus on it, so the way that it focuses is great, but if I take a shot and I'm unhappy with how it focuses, I can actually edit the focus after the shot's already been taken. So I mean, that was the selling point for me with this phone and the camera. All right, so let's just have a look at this shot here. I mean, this is filmed on an iPhone, and yeah, I can't fault it, mate. I really am happy with it. I mean, I'm sure a DSLR could probably do better, but in terms of effort required, like just this thing, just swipe across and I'm there, it's a lot easier for me to do it that way. DJI Matrice 300. I had never heard of that drone, mate, but I'm certain it's probably a $20,000-$30,000 drone. Who knows? But no, my next drone's probably going to be a Air 2S. I like them. They're nice, easy, portable. They've got all the smart features on them, so that's that, that's probably going to be my next drone. Yeah, and I also do love the GoPros as well, mate. Like I am so happy with how easy it is to start filming. That's one of my like that's one of the most enjoyable things about having an iPhone with a great camera and some fantastic quality GoPros is that it's very easy to click on and start. But with that being said, the GoPro compared to this phone for scenery, it just does not compare. These are great for action shots and stuff like that, and filming the four-wheel driving and when you're moving around and going up hills and stuff like that. The GoPros are fantastic. But for doing some scenery stuff, the iPhone, and before I had this phone, I would have used the GoPro, but a DSLR would have come in great. Oh, there you go. Yeah, well, Unpro just said that. Agree, definitely. These are good. They will do good in scenery, but they won't do as good as a DSLR camera. But they will definitely. They won't be crap. Like they still put out 5K footage or whatever it is, but if you have it set in linear mode, there won't be any fisheye. But in terms of DSLRs and stuff like that, they put out some fantastic scenery shots that I'm sure the GoPros probably couldn't compete with. But in terms of ease for quality, definitely these GoPros and this iPhone is absolutely where it's at. An anti-iPhoner, Adam. I mean, that's all right. I mean, each to their own. Um, you know, you like what you like. But I definitely prefer this phone over anything else that I've ever owned. The main reason that I bought this phone and I do buy iPhones is due to the camera. I use them for their filming purposes. The fact that they're an easy to use phone is just a bonus, I suppose. 13K for that drone. Yeah, wow. Yeah, my Daco, I'm the same. You shouldn't see fisheye on my GoPros either. I don't shoot in wide angle. The only time that you see fisheye in anything, even you can see fisheye on the iPhone as well, is when you're shooting in a wide angle lens, which I never do anyway. I don't shoot in that. I just shoot in linear and that's it, which is just the normal lens, I guess you could say. It's nice. You don't see any fisheye. Fantastic stabilization. I have never seen another camera with as good a stabilization as this GoPro 10, and for the size of it and the quality of footage that comes out of this camera is just fantastic. The only downside to this camera that I've noticed is that if I'm doing scenery shots and I move it too fast, the shot turns out not very great because the lens doesn't have time to, expose. But that's the same with any camera, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that the scenery shots that I've taken on GoPros have been crap. There have been some that I have moved too fast, as I just said. I've panned too quickly, causing it to not be the best quality. And but if you shoot the shot correctly, the scenery shots on GoPros can be fantastic. You know, the quality of footage coming off of this camera, like, is just incredible. You got like 5K footage, 60 frames a second. I think that it's very well rounded for what it is. And of course, look how much you pay for it, like $600 for this with all the added accessories as well. It's great value for money, I think, anyway. And the best thing about this is, as I said, it's small, it's easy, it's compact, it's fantastic quality for the size of the unit. It's great for what we do because they're bulletproof, basically, unless you run over them. You can drop them, you can get them wet, you can, you know, ruffle them around a little bit, and they're still going to be fine and continue to put out great quality footage. Whereas I couldn't do that on my iPhone. I only use the phone now in the cinematic mode for scenery. The rest is on here, which I think works well. I mean, I don't necessarily think that any of the videos that I put out are crap. But yeah, I'll leave that to the audience to decide. Yeah, Adam, I can understand that. Like I said, it all depends on your what you use it for and stuff like that. I don't have any paid apps or anything like that on my phone. I don't use paid apps, so I guess in my purposes, it's easier for me to have an iPhone, especially considering the fantastic quality of the camera, as we've been talking about. I haven't run over one yet, thank goodness. But the thing I actually like a lot about GoPro is that when you buy, especially for people like us who create videos using them, is that you can pay $8 a month or something like that once you buy one, and all this stuff, like all these accessories, you can get up to a 75% discount on them. So this, if you go to JB Hi-Fi or something, or you know, somewhere that sells GoPro accessories and buy this, it's like $90 just for this. But if you buy it on a GoPro website, it's only like $30 because you pay the subscription. The other benefits of paying the GoPro subscription are the cameras are insured. So if you ran over one, all you have to do is send it back to them, and they'll send you a new one. Like, that's why I pay the $8 a month, because my cameras are insured, and I also get a good discount on accessories if I need them. Which in this case, now I do need a new one of these, so that will come in handy for sure. Yeah, gee, you have snapped an SD card. I've actually noticed there was a couple of times now this has happened to me. SD card errors happen on these sometimes. I'm not sure what causes them, but one of the days on our trip, we were heading from the Goulburn River to Scone. My GoPro 9, yeah, this one, that I was filming in the vehicle shots with. So at that time, Jake and Tomsy had this one in their car shooting scenery shots, and I had this 9 in my car, and I was just doing all the in-vehicle shots on this. Well, it come up with an SD card error, and I kept taking it out, putting it back in, and it says the only way to fix the issue is to format it. So I lost half a day's worth of footage. Luckily on that trip I was backing them up every single day, so I didn't really lose that much footage. It was just a little bit frustrating. In the end, it turned out fine. The powers of editing and stuff like that, that was just, you know, worked out well, but that did happen on that trip. One thing that I didn't like about this little guy. Did you buy that GoPro genuine, Adam, on their website, or did you buy it from a shop? They are very good with their warranty and stuff like that. You know, like, I'd recommend GoPro over any other action camera for certain. Like, you won't catch me with a Sony action camera. You know what I mean? Like, these are definitely where it's at. You know, sometimes people complain about the price. You buy once, you cry once with one of these, and especially with their $8 a month subscription, there is nothing else action camera wise that you like, that's better value for money, and that puts out better quality content for the money that you're paying as well. Especially accessories as well. Like, there's so many accessories for GoPros these days. It's just, it is not, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, it's not a good investment if you're a content creator to go with anything else. Alright, you're going to get a gimbal for the iPhone. I did actually get a gimbal for my iPhone. I'll show you. So for the iPhone, or this will suit any phone, I have one of these, which is the DJI OM5. This is the brand new one here. It's a nice little piece. I do like it. So that goes on like that. What I like about this actually is that when you have the app, it's got a lot of smart features on it, and that, like, I really like that and think that is fantastic. Goes on there like that, and then turn it on, and there's no phone in it right now, it won't work properly, but yeah, so you can hold it still and it'll like move around and stuff like that with the phone in it. You can set it to lock mode, you can set it to track you and stuff like that. And yeah, it's a pretty cool little piece. Yet to try it out. I did not get to use this over the weekend. Yeah, very nice piece of equipment so far though. Thanks Unpro mate for tuning in tonight. We won't be going for too much longer. We're approaching the hour mark, so usually we'll cut it off around an hour. So we'll probably be going for another 5 or so minutes, and then we'll begin to wrap things up here. On the topic of the GoPros, the only issue that I've noticed, besides that little SD card error that I've gotten a couple of times, is the filming in the cold is difficult. But for the few minor issues that I have, and like to say that any piece of equipment without issue, like has no issues, there's definitely a lie. Every piece of equipment, especially action cameras, are going to have their temperamental times. GoPro stop recording in the cold. That's what I've noticed. They reckon temperature's too low or something like that, and they stop recording. I hate that. But that's pretty much the only thing. Sometimes the battery's too low and there's still like 30% left, but just little minute things that are not really major issues. The major overall performance of the GoPros for me has just been fantastic. Without them, yeah, without them, I definitely think that the quality of my videos would be less off. I think that the quality of the videos would suffer if I didn't have the GoPros. I mean, some of the things that you've seen, like when we're filming some off-roading per se, and you see the vehicles going up and over all these like rocks and stuff like that. Well, the person holding the GoPro has just climbed up all of that, but you don't see it because of how nice and smooth the gimbal is, and the quality is fantastic. So for these little, minute troubles per se that we have, it's still worth it, in my opinion, to have them. I think they're just so easy to use, so compact and nice, and just, like I said, just easy to use. That's fair enough, Adam, mate. We are going to wrap this one up as well in just a minute anyway, so probably we usually like to cut things off here after about an hour on the weekly live streams, so we'll be back here next week at 7 as well, and we've covered everything that I wanted to talk about tonight as well. Just wanted to chat to you guys and talk about the weekends, so it's good to see you, mate, in here. And with that being said as well, I think it is time to begin to wrap things up for this week's weekly live stream. So we will do another one next week as well at this stage, and then the week after that probably as well, as I will be doing these into the foreseeable future as long as I have things to talk about. So yeah, don't be afraid to come back in next week and say good day, guys. I think it's good to be able to chat to everyone every week, as you know how it is with YouTube videos and stuff like that. Sometimes we've got a fairly large amount of videos like scheduled, so if something happens this weekend, you guys might not see it for another 6 or 7 weeks, you know, or maybe even longer. So I think these live streams are good for you guys to see what's happening in the real time and just come and have a chat. I'm fairly hopeless when it comes to replying to direct messages on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. So this is definitely the best way to have an interaction, I think. And yeah, it's good to have everyone come in every week and have a chat. So I think with all that being said, guys, it is time to wrap it up for this week's weekly live stream. Thank you very much for those of you guys who did tune in and jumped into the chat. Don't remember to subscribe if you have not already. And if you haven't followed us on Instagram, please can do so. And I do my best to reply to messages and comments and stuff on there, but between work and YouTube, it is quite difficult to get to all of them. So I do apologise if I'm not the swiftest with that. But yeah, definitely do that, guys. If you have any questions and stuff like that that you didn't get to ask on the live, or even drop them down in the comment section below. If you are watching this in past tense. There you guys. Thank you very much for watching this week's weekly live stream. It's been a real pleasure, and we will see you next week. Be sure to tune in on Friday for this week's weekly upload as well. And then next Wednesday, we will be having another live stream. So we'll see you guys then. Thank you very much for tuning in. It's been a pleasure.